If the first of the 4 P's of marketing is product, then Champagne finds itself at a disadvantage when it comes to product development. These barrels contain Chardonnay wine from the Clos vineyard next to the winery that will, in a few years' time, produce just a small number of bottles of single grape vintage champagne. That's just a fraction of the 4 million bottles that Lançon produces each year, which leaves a little bit of a problem when it comes to producing a consistent product.
Now obviously champagne is made entirely from grapes grown on vines like these, but that means it's completely at the whim of Mother Nature with sunshine and rain. Some years you'll get smaller harvests, sometimes it's going to be larger harvests, and of course it's also going to affect the quality of the grapes. But champagne makers have a bit of a trick up their sleeves. Now each of these tanks, and there are over 400 of them, contain thousands of litres of wine made out of either Chardonnay, Pinot Noir or Meunier grapes from villages like Ambonnet just a few miles away from here. Those are the 3 grapes that go into Lançon's mainline Black Label champagne.
Black Label is the most important wine of the range. The most important because it is a wine that we produce in a higher quantity. It is a wine that will represent the style, the soul of the brand. In Black Label, we have a percentage of grapes that is always the same. We always have 50% of Pinot Noir, 35% of Chardonnay and 50% of Meunier. That's the main rule of a Black Label. And after, the other ingredients will change in keeping with the quality of harvest.
Because harvests vary, Hervé mixes this year's crop with reserve wines made in previous years, but in the same proportions of grape. Black Label can be blended from over 100 individual wines, just to make it taste the same year after year.
Today we have reserve wines from harvest 2016 until 1998. And this reserve wine will be useful for Black Label because every year we are going to use it at different percentages in keeping with the quality of last harvest.
Because of limited production, the Champagne region is focusing increasingly on quality, not quantity. So 5 years ago, Lançon invested heavily in their winery, buying new oak casks and stainless steel tanks to ferment and store many different wines from different villages and plots around the region.
It's like in a kitchen, when you're a chef, you need a lot of different spices. And I can say that I'm very happy because now I have a lot of different tanks and that will enable to improve the quality and the precision of Black Label and vintage.
Black Label's particular taste isn't just down to the combination of grapes or the reserve wines. The way it's produced has an effect too.
It's very important to understand the Lançon style because by avoiding mainly malolactic fermentation, in a Lançon wine you always have a wine that will be always very fresh, very pure, very clean. And we say that it's always a perfect start to drink a glass of Lançon.
And even once you've made the perfect blend, you have to play a waiting game to enjoy that glass of bubbly. The rules of champagne say a bottle like Black Label should be aged for a minimum of 15 months, but that's not long enough for Lançon.
For a bottle of Black Label, we wait 3 years. That's the minimum we want to have because we know that if you want to achieve the perfect balance between maturity and freshness we need for a bottle of Black Label, that's what we have to wait in our cellar.
Paul, you talk about this very lengthy product development cycle of up to 4 years.
Yeah.
How difficult is it to actually adjust to the changing tastes of the customers?
We talk a lot about new product development in my world. Well, in certain categories, you can come up with a new flavor in about 2 hours. In my world, it takes 5 years. So you're always trying to predict. I think the reality is that you have to stick to what you're good at. And what we know is our style of champagne is liked by people because it's mouth-watering and refreshing. So we just make sure that that gets as good as it possibly can get. And you're always at the predicament of the climate. It's very hard to grow grapes in Champagne, that's for sure. So it's about a dedication. I think I'm coming back to the piece that it's about building longevity and just constantly improving the quality as you can. So it's a long game.
So you're not out there to chase the latest trend, and you don't think that because of that because of the long product development cycle, you're actually behind the curve when it comes to certain trends?
No, I think the thing about champagne is people need to trust a brand. Look, you do need to have a degree of innovation, I guess. That's probably the best way of putting it. We launched a couple of years ago something called Lanson White Label, which is a sec style champagne, which is off dry. So actually we're promoting it here at Polo in the Park because it's a softer style of champagne. It's easy to drink. You can add a zest of orange and lemon. To be honest, in this weather, it's a perfect style. Do I call that innovation? I just call it evolution, to be frank. It's becoming very popular, but we don't recommend you pour it over ice because there's not that much sugar in it. It's just a different style of champagne. So yeah, we don't want to come up with new things every 5 minutes. That's not what we're about. We can't do that.
Hello, I'm James Wright. Thanks for watching Marketing Media Money. To check out more online videos, just click on the boxes and don't forget to subscribe to the CNBC Life channel at the bottom of the screen.